Hey everybody, welcome to the video Classical Guitar Technique for Everyone. My name is Brandon Yip. I have a bit of a unique background in that I'm a conservatory trained classical guitarist, but I've always had one foot in the rock, blues, pop, and as a worship leader, worship world, playing electric guitar. My hope with this video was to be able to introduce some of these classical techniques to help you no matter what style you play. So we're going to look at harmonizing melodies with thirds. We're going to look at hammer-ons and pull-offs. We're going to look at arpeggios, artificial harmonics, tremolo, and a brief introduction to the flamenco technique of rasqueado. All right, let's get started. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take an arrangement I did of a Christmas song entitled I Saw Three Ships, and it's composed in a theme and variation style. So for each of the different variations, I utilized a different guitar technique to highlight that variation. If you want to hear the entire arrangement in its completeness, you can check, I'll put the link below in the description, you can go check that out on a different video. So what I did is we started with the theme, or just the melody, and we harmonized that in thirds. I'm going to first just play the melody for you in single notes so you can hear that. Okay, great melody. A lot of stuff you can do on the guitar, even with single notes, slides, vibrato, all of that to make a melody pretty interesting. But here's how it was set on the actual arrangement in thirds. Okay, so maybe a little more interesting, maybe a little thicker, richer texture to use. But basically, here's what I'm doing. So I'm taking the melodic note, and let's say starting with the note D on the second string, and then just count 3 notes below or 3 notes above, and that would be, in this case, D going down, D, C sharp to B, and that will give me this chord. And then you just do the same thing for each note of the scale moving up. Okay, so again, take that, maybe explore a little bit with some of your music to see what you can do with it. The next section utilizes a combination of hammer-ons and pull-offs, also known as trills. So I want to show you this passage and then maybe explain how to make this happen the best. Okay, so what's happening here is a combination of hammer-ons and pull-offs to do a trill like that. So what I want to do is let's look at both of those movements separately. Here's the hammer-on. If you're watching the left hand here, and watch my pinky as I move from the third finger to the fourth finger, plucking once and hammering down to get the second note. And what you want to do here, the goal is to move the finger straight into the fretboard for the cleanest sound. Now on the pull-off, it's a little bit different movement, and this is where maybe people get tripped up the most. As you're pulling off that finger, you want the movement to move down towards the floor, almost as if you're plucking the string with the left hand. So I'll pluck the note first, and then pull up. And notice how clear and strong that note is. Okay, so combining the hammer-on and the pull-off. Nice and clean. Good luck with that. Okay, the next section of the piece that I wanted to cover with you is utilizes arpeggios, right-hand arpeggios specifically. And so the passage in the piece goes like this. Okay, so that's the arpeggio section, and let me just show you what I'm doing with the right hand, or what I did to practice that section to get it to be clean, strong, clear, and articulate. It's basically utilizing a technique called planting, where if you take a look at my right hand, I'm going to prepare the fingers on the string in advance, and just to give the fingers a more deliberate and intentional sense of where the string is. So it would look something like this if I were to play that arpeggio. I'd play the thumb, play the index finger, and it's planted, and the middle finger planted. And again, thumb, plant, index finger, plant, middle finger, plant, and play. And eventually you get that going, taking that very slowly at first, and gradually as you get more control, speeding up. Now if you're an electric player and you utilize a pick only, you can use the same concept to make your picking technique cleaner, stronger, and more articulate. So if I took that D minor arpeggio, what I might do to practice this is just go through each note, plant, 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 plant. Okay? See if that helps you with your pick technique or your right hand technique. Okay, the next technique we're going to look at is the technique of artificial harmonics. Now, many of you know how to play natural harmonics, which occurred at a variety of places along the fretboard. The most common at the 12th fret, by just touching the note and then plucking. And you get this bell-like tone. Now, you can do that with any note on the fretboard, even fretted notes. And let's just start with the note D, like we did before. So this note is at the 3rd fret on the 2nd string. I'm going to count up, I'm going to add 12 frets to that, go to the 15th fret, and now here's the trick with artificial harmonics. The right hand has to execute basically all of the technique. So you're going to touch very lightly with the index finger, you can see that at the 15th fret, and then with my ring finger on the same hand, the right hand, I'm going to pluck to get the note to sound. And again, you get this beautiful bell-like sound. So here's the melody with artificial harmonics. All right, give that a try with your music. Okay, the next section in the piece utilizes a technique known as tremolo. It's a bit of a smoke and mirrors kind of technique. Let me play the passage for you as it occurs in the piece. Okay, so here's the technique. Again, it's a bit of a smoke and mirrors kind of thing. What you're doing, we're basically trying to emulate a repeated note that would give the illusion of one sustained melodic note. And here's how it works. So you play with the right hand, one accompaniment note or bass note, followed by 3 melodic notes. And those happen with the ring finger, the middle finger, and the index finger. So thumb, ring, middle, index. Okay, and you can combine this with the other techniques that we've looked at earlier in this lesson. For example, utilizing thirds and just taking thirds and applying the tremolo technique. Okay, good luck with that one. Okay, the final technique that I used in this arrangement is the flamenco technique known as rasqueado, or it's a type of strum that flamenco players use. Now, disclaimer, I don't claim to be a flamenco player at all, just utilize this technique, and it's utilized in classical guitar technique in several pieces. So here's the passage as it is in the arrangement. Okay, so here's how it works. It's basically taking each of the fingers individually and utilizing them to strum. So I might take my I finger just to practice this and do both down. You can practice this with downstrokes and upstrokes. You want a nice, crisp, independent movement. Here's my middle finger doing it. The ring finger. the pinky. And don't forget the thumb, upstrokes with the thumb. So here's the pattern as it occurs in the piece. Index, ring, middle, index, upstroke with the thumb, and index again. Once again. So try that to add some interest into your strum patterns. The other thing to mention that if you're a fingerstyle player, what's great about Rasgueado is it strengthens a different group of muscles in your hands and balances the hand out better. So if you're doing right hand technique, fingerstyle, whatever, you're mostly using what we call the flexor muscles. The Rasgueado uses a different group of muscles called the extensors, which occur up here. And so if you're practicing those, even if you're not using it, just to practice it will strengthen your right hand. Hope that helps. Okay, well that's it for classical guitar technique for everyone. I hope that helped. Again, if you want to hear the entire version of the song, there's a link below in the description. Let me know in the comments what you found helpful about this, if you'd like to cover other topics or cover some of these topics more in depth. And as always, like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot.